Welcome to the PopGo Project podcast, a platform for the discussion and discovery of arts and entertainment. We focus on highlighting people and events that add value to the world around us. Visit us on all social media platforms by searching the PopGo Project or visit our website at thepopgoproject.com. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for listening. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Keller's Garden Center and Landscaping Services. Contact Keller's today and get your yard cleaned up before that dirty old man winter comes. I hate to say it, but he's on his way. The mornings are cold. They're frigid. I don't like it. I'm turning the steering wheel warmer on. I'm putting the seat warmers on. It's just miserable. But contact Keller's today. And if you're looking for snow removal services during the winter months, they can take care of that for you too. Do not break your back this winter and leave the heavy lifting to the professionals at Keller's. Family owned and operated. Their team is looking forward to serving you. Keller's Garden Center and Landscaping Services, located on Kern Street in Exeter near Blue Ribbon Dairy. Find them on social media to learn more. Charles Havira, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Good evening.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
How'd you spend the New Year coming in? Big party?
No, those days are they've been kind of long gone. I stayed home with my son and watched some movies. We almost made it to midnight. And I would say we were about 20 minutes away, but we both fell asleep. And I mean, I set the alarm, and we had our New Year's moment, but we didn't last.
Yeah, home stretch, so 20 minutes.
Yeah.
How old's your son?
8.
My son just turned 6. And I was going to let him stay up or try to stay up till midnight. I don't think he would have made it, but he doesn't sleep in. That's the problem. If he slept in the morning after being up late, I'd try and let it go. But doesn't sleep in, and I'm like, I'm not going to deal with you being a tired little jerk in the morning. So you're going to bed. I put him to bed at 10.
But he was. I mean, we were doing well. I was pretty surprised, but once I said, "Hey, do you want to go upstairs?" Yes. So we went upstairs, and we watched some additional movies and but we didn't make it.
Next year.
It was close. I heard the fireworks going off and everything.
Well, I found a kids countdown on YouTube, so we did that. My daughter is 17 months old, so we put her down at 7. But I wanted to kind of give my son the idea of what it was. And there's this thing on YouTube, and they had I don't know, it was like Little Wayne, Little John, or like just a bunch of music in the background and like graphics and all that kind of stuff. And did like a little countdown. So we did that at like 10 o'clock for him, and then we put him to bed.
Yeah.
It was fun.
He was saying, "I don't want to watch the ball drop," and he said it multiple times. And so I didn't push it. I didn't, get into it. But we watched some Marvel and Marvel movies and things like that, and just pretty much swam in that ocean right there.
Cool. Well, we're talking the new year, and I feel like this year is going to be exciting for you personally, professionally, musically. We've got some music coming out. First time in what, like 6-7 years?
Let's see. It seems like everything that has been released, it's always a number 4 to 6 years in between. And I think the last one was Yeah, I think you're right. I honestly, I don't remember. Maybe it was 2017 or 18. There was a recording called Actual, which had some newer songs on and some older songs, but new arrangements. I'm actually going to be going into the studio to Windmill Agency, and that's where the recording is going to take place. I'm going up there on Sunday, and I had a show at a chapel in New Angola, and it was recorded, videotaped, and so I'm going to be going through that. But I also have some new songs or newer songs that I kind of put out there, but I'm toying with the idea of how to present it.
Okay.
It seems so different. Everyone, a lot of people say just focus on a song at a time or something like that. So another friend of mine who's been working with me, he was saying, just put it all together in one, which would be a great idea. But then financially that comes in. But I think I'm going to release the video, what I had recorded I think it was late July in New Angola, and put that online on my website, and then follow up with some newer songs that I have multiple versions of. And so while I'm up there on Sunday, I invited a couple musicians to come up to work on a new song that we're going to try and make happen. A lot of times we just, the last few times we've gone in, we've had minimal to no practice whatsoever, and go into the studio and say, okay, this is kind of how I think it should sound. And sometimes it kind of sounds like what it sounds like in my head. And then other times, because there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other musicians at one time, it comes out another way, but even better than what I had imagined in my head.
Right. And who do you have working on that with you?
Well, Eric Ritter at Windmill, he's going to be steering the ship. Producer, engineer, recording engineer. Nick Driscoll, who in the last couple tunes, I mean, it could be flute, could be keyboards, could be saxophone, penny whistle, I don't know. But I think he on this one, if he's going he has some surgery, so I don't know if he's going to be able to use a flute or saxophone. So he's going to focus on keyboards and maybe even do some drumming. Justin Mazer on guitar, and myself. But the other tracks that I'm looking to release as a whole had some other players on it, and AJ Jump on drums, Mark Keisinger on bass, Dan Coyle on flugelhorn, and Roy Williams on keyboards. And we had put together a song called Brighten Our View that was kind of released. It's out there. It's on my website if you do want to take a listen to it. But I think I'm going to do another version of that as well, and maybe instrumentally approach it another way.
Yeah, well, it seems like you have like an all-star lineup there.
They're the best. I'm lucky to have these players through the years. I'm the list goes on. Through the years, I've played with so many great players, and as time goes on, it changes a little bit. But I always revisit players like Pat Flynn on guitar, John Nova guitar. I've had Dylan Skursky on bass. I mean, even when I first started playing, I was in a group called Freight Train, and we started in the early 90s. And so it started at Palooka's Diner, which was right next to Market Street, or the station, Market Street Square. I forget what it was called back then. Well, do you remember what? There was the station, and then the Bebop Cafe. That's what it was. Do you remember that?
I'm a little younger than you, just a little bit.
Okay, I'm a little older than you. So next to what the Bebop Cafe was, I think they had like a woman's leg sticking out of a Cadillac, half of a Cadillac into the building. And then next to that, they had this diner. And that's where it all started for me. I think it was like 91 or even late 90. A friend of mine in high school, Mary Ellen Moore, she said, I think I'm gonna get you a gig. So she ended up talking to Mitch Kornfeld, and I ended up doing this weekly thing, and I got to start playing music. And then after I was doing that, there were other players, Justin Gibbon, Kevin Murphy, and other players came along. And then next thing you know, I'm starting a group with some other players. And then we started playing all over the place through the years. So we had this, we never had a bass player or Bob Strausser. See, there's all these names coming up. We had different bass players. John Gaffney, another bass player. He was, I guess, the original bass player. But then something, I don't know how it played out. But then our future electric guitar player first played bass, and our first guitar player, he left, so it switched up. And then we had this, I think, every Monday night at Cece's in Music. And sometimes we would have different players each time. And so we were still Freight Train, but it kept changing each week. And Dave Narosky was Dave Narrows, as his stage name is. Jamie Novak was playing with us at that time a little bit. And we were doing some recordings at WVIA. But there was always this revolving door of players. And they're all good friends of mine. They're all still playing to this day. And Stosh from Moonbag, I don't know if you're, yeah. They're gonna be coming back together. I just saw something online. I did some shows with him, Mark Smith, Mark Hamza. Again, these names just keep going. There's probably like 20 other guys that I'll probably name before this interview is over.
And what kind of stuff was Freight Train doing?
We were doing what we have, kind of whatever we wanted to do. We had this we had some type of, we were doing all the wrong things. Uh, that's for sure. And but we definitely had a free form kind of. This was the worst thing, back in 92. You had to, get your photograph. You had to write up the bio and say these ridiculous things on what you think you sound like, and it was always funky, groovy, bluesy, jazzy stuff. But we did just that, and it was something coming from, we wanted to explore electronic music, we wanted to explore a blues realm, a jazz realm, folk realm, and instrumentals, and we wanted to just put it all together, and that's what we did. And I don't really know what you would call it, but sometimes we'd be playing a song for 15 minutes and it'd be the first song of a gig we have in State College, and maybe we shouldn't have done that. Or, a lot of wrong decisions were made, but we had a great time. We enjoyed it very much. We played steadily for about 10 years, and then we slowed down a bit. But we played reunion type shows throughout the years, even as far as like a year and a half ago, we played down at Carl Hall.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so everyone split one direction to another direction. Pretty much everyone went down to the Philadelphia area, and I stayed up here in Northeast PA.
Gotcha. And when did you decide to kind of focus on your own stuff?
Well, I would say around 98, maybe. I was doing that, and through the years, just focusing on some new arrangements. Again, I had no great original band name. Charles Havira Band, very, very unique. CHB, but it was kind of funny that it was CHB. I think the first group was Jamie Novak on drums, Anthony Sable on bass, who was in Freight Train, and Matt Thompson, another new name, on guitar, and myself. But when you were seeing CHB, you were actually seeing HB, because Jamie Novak had his improvisational group HB. So when you see HB, you're seeing HB, because he was kind of known as HB, they would call him. And Dave Narrows, those two guys were HB, really. And that was a group too. We had a kind of a core group that split different directions, and we'd go and play as much as we could in the Northeast, Central Pennsylvania, Southern PA kind of area.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've heard your name a ton over the years. I don't think I ever had the pleasure of seeing you live, and maybe I have. But yeah, I mean, you're very well respected. And obviously that's, true because of the names you're able to, pull onto these shows with the air and the recordings.
I don't know how I do it. I don't.
You're probably a nice guy.
Sometimes.
And a good musician,
Well, I always say they're the musicians. I'm just an expressionist. And okay. So kind of flow with them as much as possible.
Okay. Well, I mean, you have 4 albums out, correct?
Let's see. I think so.
According to your website, you have Holiday,
Oh yes, Holiday. There was the self-titled
self-titled. So Holiday was 04, self-titled 08.
Dulcet. Is that one? Is that on there?
Yeah,
The live.
2011.
Yep, that was that, and then actual. You're right. 4
Yeah,
albums.
yeah. So
Well,
in all spanning quite a few years. You said before you had that kind of break,
yeah.
4 to 6 years. Is there a reason for that, or is it just kind of that's just kind of how it happened?
It's even when I first started playing with Freight Train, we have the idea of, okay, let's get an album out, and 93 goes by. We do a recording at Waterfront Studios in Hoboken. Amazing studio. I thought we did a pretty good recording. We didn't release it. Maybe 2 more years go by, or a year. We go to River Sound in Manhattan. We do some songs. We got to. I was listening to Blues Traveler, the 4 album, and really liked the sound of it, and saw that it was recorded at River Sound. So we got to talking to them. We worked with the assistant engineer, Jay Ryan, and through the years, I find out, we got to see Government Mule when in like maybe late 94 or something like that. We kind of broke into the Lancaster music scene, and we got to play the Chameleon frequently, and we got to see Government Mule. I was talking with Warren Haynes, and we got to talking about the same people. Didn't release any of that music, and it goes on and on. But then we finally released something 2 years before we break up, and and that was at Red Rock out in Saylorsburg, an amazing studio. And we always, I don't know, we kind of did the live thing with a lot of live recordings. We talked about a lot of things, but we never had the business sense to do the right thing.
I understand. That's okay, right? I mean,
yeah, we're still playing music. We're still creative. All 4 of us from Freight Train are still doing something musically. But the good thing about coming out with another album and going into the studio is actually the 10th of January, we're going to do a live album recording at the Bog in Scranton.
I saw that.
Yeah, and so that's exciting, but it's also nerve-wracking because we never practice. I was just texting the band before, minutes before I got on the air with you, and I came up with the solution. I said, should we practice? AJ's like, no, we never. Why should we do it again? And he's right. We never practice, and we're always like in the moment. And that's kind of what we are about, is that moment that we have on stage, and you can never practice that. And that's really who we are as a band. And that's kind of what we're doing with these new songs. Brighten Our View, when we went into Windmill Studios, we played that song 5 times, and it's all live. And we kind of practice it. We had a practice session, which was kind of pointless. But we, let's just go in, let's do this song. And the song meant a lot to me and to a lot of the guys in the band. It's a song for Brian Craig. And it meant a lot to express the feelings that I had for a friend of mine who's no longer with us.
Yeah.
And just one of the greatest guys I've ever met. And
yeah, that was a sad day for sure.
Yeah. And so this was just a little piece of something, that we could say, hey, this, when we're always here, we're never. And so it was a pretty powerful session, and it felt really good what we did with the tune. And when we went back into the studio again, this time we didn't practice, and that was the song that I sent you, a song called a song called Walk With Me. And we just went in there and played it live. And there's actually a second part to that song that I didn't send to you. It's the outro instrumental part. I'll send it to you later, but it's a departure of sonically of what you heard.
Cool.
So we're hoping that we can capture some magic on January 10th.
Yeah, so this will probably come out a few days after that event. So anyone listening or watching this now, obviously stay tuned to Charles's social media and website for that release. Yeah. But there's a lot of music floating around. Bright in Our View, is that going to be available on something? Is it available now?
Yeah, you can go to charleshavira.com, HAVIRA.com. Both the song Bright in Our View, the full version, and Walk With Me are both full versions are there.
Very cool.
And well, there's really only one. Yeah, they're both there. But with this recording session that's coming up on Sunday, I'm going to do a little bit more work in the studio to put some more stuff on the website. Still toying with the idea of putting it out on, all the other places, Spotify and Apple and all this. But in the end, I mean, why should, the way that I think, not that, I'm going to get 1 million plays, which I'm not, but if you want to hear the song, hey, I want to hear Charles Havira, just go to my website and listen to it there. I mean, all the stories that you hear about Spotify, I don't know how these people, I don't know how people live. I mean, the money that they're not making, I don't know why you would want to be a part of something like that.
Is that why only 2 of your albums are on those platforms?
No, when they came out, whoever I was working with, they said, yeah, we can get it on this, and this. I said, okay, sure, whatever. Just put it out there. And I was just rolling with it. But I mean, it's laughable, the money that I received from stuff. But again, I'm not in it for the money at all. That's clear.
Right.
But Everything's going to be on the website. It's just how it's going to be approached um, stylistically. At maybe some new approaches in photography in the next few months. Maybe updating the website. Vic Brazen, who's from West Scranton. I got to work with him, and he's all over the Northeast doing a lot of photography. So I was lucky to catch up with him, and he was part of my younger music scene days, and so it was great to reconnect with him.
Yeah. The live recording at the Bog. I mean, did you pick the Bog for, because of the venue itself, because maybe it's the ties that, Brian Craig has to it?
Oh, definitely. I'd say it's a home base. Throughout the years, it was just the easiest thing to do, and it was inspired by Southside Five, who plays there the top of I think it's the first Wednesday of every month. For a while, I worked at the Bog for, I don't know, 17 years.
Wow.
Bart, and I didn't even know I would work there that long until one day Rudy said, "Yeah, you've been working here 17." Oh, really? I mean,
Wow.
Time goes by. The days of smelling your clothes the next morning. Oof.
Yeah.
They stink with smoke.
Yeah.
And there was always music there, and a big reason was because of Brian. And he worked really hard to have the Bog be a creative place, a social place for everyone to be there, to go there and feel comfortable. You got a lawyer, you have a prostitute, you have a hardcore guy, you've got every walk of life. They were all all at the same bar.
Right.
And it was, you got the lawyer, you got the preppy kid, you got the whatever, and everything was there, and everyone had a great time. And it was like there was no other place, and nothing's really changed since. I think they've been in business, what, 24 years?
It's been a long time.
Yeah. And so Brian, I think after a while, he was working with Bill Orner, and then they were starting this musical thing where they were bringing in acts, and it just got just busier and busier. And then there was so much music all the time. And then more recently, music stopped, but then, or more recently being, in the past 3-4 years with, everything that's happened in this world, which is, that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
But it started up again. And so Southside Five was, they were doing their live thing, and every first Wednesday of the month. And then I think just maybe 2 months ago, they did a live recording, and Eric Ritter from Windmill did the recording there. So I'm already working with Eric. It's the easiest thing to do, to just go to Scranton, and it's not a big place. So you don't need much of anything to amplify the sound. So we've all played there countless times throughout the years. So it was just the easiest thing to do, and just to support them. So no heavy thinking, really.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if like it was comfortable, right? And then also,
Oh,
the
yeah,
legacy that Brian left, obviously.
for sure. And we actually, I played there in the past, I don't know, in the past maybe 6 months, two times before that. I got to do something with Nick Driscoll and Jamie Novak. We called ourselves Novira. Um, so there's the CHB thing, and then if you see Novira, that usually has Jamie on drums, Novak, um, Havira, and then but there's part of Havira that doesn't have the spelling ERA, which I actually think my name is ERA, but it's spelled IRA. So the deep meaning is there's no Vera in Havira.
Okay.
I don't know. That's how that went. And we had a friend of ours, Ryan Barrett. He played, and then the next time we played, we had Mark Keisinger, Justin Mazer, Jamie Novak, and myself, and we had an amazing night. Just an electrifying night. We played incredibly well. The energy was massive, and we didn't record it. So
That's how it works.
yes, well, actually, no, we did record it, and it sounds like it's in a toilet, literally. So like someone said, yeah, put the mic in the toilet. And that's what we sounded like.
Gotcha.
But we didn't come out with any quality recording. So, hey, let's try it again. And that's what this is coming up to be.
Okay. Now I'm asking a lot of questions about something that's going to have already happened by the time this is released. But is it just going to be the band in the room, or is this like open to the public as well?
Oh yeah, it's regular
It's a regular
Wednesday.
night. Okay.
Yeah. We'll be playing a couple sets and hoping for the best, like I was saying before, the band saying, what songs do you want to play? And a lot of times this isn't even it doesn't help even putting a set list together, because every time we've ever played, we've never had a set list. So it's almost, sometimes we would do songs that either we never played and it worked beautifully. Don't get me wrong, we crash and burn hard sometimes, but we make up for it with other times, and it's magical. And that's what we're hoping to do, is to capture that. And that's really what it's all about with me and playing with the band, is capturing those moments.
And that's,
for sure.
That's really what it's about, right? I mean, think about
It is.
everything we do. It's like, you know, we try and calculate everything and make sure everything's perfect. But there's something special about just like letting it rip and just
Oh yeah,
this genuine, this rawness, this like honest thing about that.
that's for sure. And I'm really excited, putting my whole ego and me talking about me now, but I've been watching your interviews, and I'm really excited about what's happening down at the Ritz.
Yeah.
And I'm pumped to see the Death Valley Dreams they had to reschedule that one, and that's an amazing band. I mean,
Really is.
I remember one time we played there when John and Nick were in I think it was the Drama Club.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Oh yeah.
And we got totally ripped that night. I mean, it was a blast, and they sound amazing. Killer band. John's guitar playing is, and his songwriting, I mean, his own songwriting through the years with Stony Creek and everything he's been doing uh, since then, he's a jewel.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
And
this area, I mean, I feel like I say it every time I, do one of these. This area is just like, loaded with talent. I mean,
it,
it's such a like I love to be able to do this because I mean, I'm so passionate and I want to, scream from the rooftops about all the talent that is in this area. Um, and I don't know how much, you know, people get from this, and people, are people learn about new music from this podcast. But like that's the goal. It's just because like I just believe in this area so much, and the guys like you, and you're talking about Johnny and Nick, and even the younger guys coming up. I mean, there's no lack of talent.
oh, it just keeps growing. And I mean, just going back, I mean, you can go back a long time, like way before us, but it's still here. I'm knocking on, I'm 52. I don't feel 52. I might look 52, but I definitely don't feel 52, whatever that's supposed to feel like.
Okay.
But I'm still doing the same thing I was doing when I was 21. My approach, that's for sure. And that's never going to change because, with all the technology and this and that, I'm not really embraced in that type of thing. I just want to express myself up there and do what we can. Can we hear everyone? Okay, let's just do it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
It's okay. Then let's just move closer, and then we're good. I don't need, and I don't really want the technology to do this and that and everything. But as for what's been going on in my past 40 years, what was before me, that was massive before I was able to go to bars and this and that, in the late 70s, and all the music that was being represented and presented. I mean, there still is that fan base, that need, that want for that musical expression, and we're doing it. We're still here. It still exists, but the biggest problem is there really aren't places to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real place.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, like, you're 11 years older than me, and like, but like things change so quickly. Like I turned 21 in 2003. And like I feel like 4 or 5 years before that, the scene was different. And then 4 or 5 years before that, the scene was different. But then like 4 or 5 years after I turned 21, the scene was different. And like every like chunk of 4 to 5 years, like just something kind of falls off almost, whether it be, I know I just got done saying there's so much talent here, but whether it be some bands or just places to play, that's a huge thing. But everything changes so quickly. And I always say I was born in the wrong era. I mean, I love. I mean, we live in the greatest time ever, right? I mean, the technology is wonderful. Like, you can order a pizza and have it delivered here in 5 minutes. You can DoorDash from any restaurant you could think of. Like, it's a crazy thing to think about. But like, when that didn't exist, there was something to be said about the simplicity of life.
Yeah,
And
it's
meeting your buddies out and just hanging out.
Yeah, and people make fun of the 90s, but
they were the best.
It was a great time, but that was kind of my time of growing up, but it was still it was that time before all of this technology, when that was just starting to roll in at the late 90s, there was still that freedom. There wasn't really there weren't, like, you'll go to some shows and they have that barrier, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, I know it's needed and this and that, but it wasn't there 10 years ago.
Right.
Or whatever, 7 years ago, or whatever it was at the time. And I know it's needed for photography and if there's too many people and security needs it for space and this and that. But the whole approach of having that freedom, it's a different thing. Just like that, the technology is taking away from what we're doing, but we need to go back and get that place. And we have to. I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day about this, that we need to come together as a whole. You, the music lover, or me, the musician, or me, the musician who is a music lover.
Right.
If there isn't something, then let's come together and make it happen.
How do we do it though?
How many contractors do you know? How many plumbers do you know? How many electricians do you know? How many people do you know that have money? I mean, it doesn't take much. You need some cinder blocks. How many musicians do you know? Plenty of them. There's how many people do you know that own land? That we know all these peoples. How many? That's all it is. So why aren't we doing it for ourselves?
Yeah.
Like when I was playing music and I stopped playing music, I started promoting music. I started this thing called Cornucopia Productions, where I just started bringing in music to the area from literally all over the country and Canada, and bringing them to the Wilkes-Barre Scranton area in bars, clubs, theaters, and some were successful, some weren't. But the only reason why it happened was because I did that. It's not just going to happen itself. We have to do it ourselves. And that's what I did back then, because I thought, okay, well, I like music. I want to have more music. So I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and see if people like it. And I would say, it, for what was it, 98 or something like that, I think it started, or I started doing that. It started something. And so if we're tired of going to the same place to see music, and we're limited to this narrow hallway of choices to go see music at a certain place, and you say to yourself, well, I could do this. I can build a stage. I know I've got a PA system. Doesn't take much. I mean, when Freight Train first started playing at Proof Rocks, I was singing duct tape on a cymbal stand, taped in microphone, one speaker that was actually a guitar amp or something. It was primal, but it wasn't the technology. It was what was in us.
Right.
That we were.
But how do we attract a younger audience, I guess, is my big thing, because I don't know how to I don't know how to get them. Like I don't, because I know guys like us, right? Like now, I go out far less than I used to. Two kids at home, wife, and I'm sure you can relate. Um, I mean, I don't get out as much as I like to, but like I will if it's a cool event like at the Ritz with coming up with Death Valley Dreams and Another Day Dawns and I think Dustin Douglas is on that as well. But like I feel like the younger generation, like it's like, they're not going out like we used to go out.
Right.
Like how do we get them to like engage?
Oh, yeah. I wish I had that answer, but I think keeping it as simple as possible, giving them something that I think no matter what it is, say whatever genre you want to put there, if it's polka, if it's blues, if it's death metal, whatever the genre is, if people could come together and be a part of something where they're going to benefit from it and be, I don't mean to be letting the cat out of the bag from this conversation that I've had with a couple of my friends, and it's the same idea. If there was a membership, like at the bog, it all goes back to the bog with me.
Okay.
We would sit there, and it was always, all right, it's 2:00. You know what that means? Chug them and leave them. You got to go, but you don't always go, do you? Some people stay around.
Right.
It happens.
Right.
And so we'd always have that conversation of, well, there's 2 more floors at the bog. Why don't we? What did people do? Well, we're going to go to the after hours club because we want to keep this party going, right? And what do? You go there, and you can go there for whatever amount of time, and you're a member. So you're guaranteed entrance into this elite, exclusive place, but really it's not. It's just you pay some money. So if we can make some type of venue that's going to be, or that would make someone feel a certain way,
right?
I think it's as simple as that. To say, okay, you can get a discount here. You're always welcome because you're a member, and you'll be welcomed as a member if you pay your dues. And if you do pay your dues, you're going to pay not $13 for a double bourbon. No, you're going to pay a respectable price. You're not going to be ripped off. I mean, you can go, like, again, you'd go to the bog, and the prices at one time for 2 hours every night of the week, you had 6 beers to choose from for $1 for 2 hours. Pabst, I think it was Narragansett, Yingling, Miller, Bud, 1 or 2 others. Nothing crazy, but for $1 for 2 hours,
Sweet.
Yeah. Pabst, whatever it was. And I think keeping it as simple as that to start a membership, and the thing is, just like across the United States, there's still places that are historic, whether it's a small place or a larger place like the Ritz, that people feel special just walking into it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, I just feel like old movie theaters or something. Something. I went to see Cabinet last year, New Year's Eve. And I walked out at, it was 12:30, and it was just fog everywhere. But there was this right around the corner from the place they played, was this old movie theater. And just looking at it got me excited, because nothing had changed in this building it's been there probably since like the 50s, and you could tell. And so those places still exist, some of them, but some don't. And if we could go and find these places and make it just like
cool again.
Cool again, but a place that you're going to get a quality product. You're going to have the choices of death metal, polka, pop music, indie, whatever it is, and there'll be those choices. Because in the end, it's not just going to be, well, welcome to, we're only playing death metal.
Right.
That's all we have. It's death metal. Well, you're limiting your crowd.
Sure.
So if you can have those choices, maybe that's a way you can get the younger crowd in to say, okay, well, we're not going to rip you off. We're going to give you choices. We're going to actually do the homework to say, what would kids like? What would middle-agers like? And that's my 2 cents, is to not try and rip people off with something.
Right.
If we can give them a quality night out where they'll feel special and be turned on to new music, because there's musicians all over the world who want to come through northeastern Pennsylvania. That's another thing that people don't have. We've got location. We do.
Yeah.
You got New York, Philly, we've got that. That's the beauty of it. And to have these bands that are around here to be part of these touring acts, that can happen. So if everyone does come together financially, how many millionaires do you know?
Not enough.
Not enough, but
Yeah, maybe probably a handful.
Right. And how many? Let's not say millionaires. I think more people who want to have a good time that have money. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
So do I. But how many times have they been introduced to this idea that we're talking about? Because, I like to go out for a drink, or I like to go out for some food. And, we look at all these things online and, wherever it is that we find out this information, to say, oh, there's this great restaurant in Manhattan. It costs like, to go to Manhattan and to get a place to sleep and have a night out. That's like thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Uh-huh.
And there's nothing. This is the greatest pizza. And you're going to pizza to Manhattan? Like, yeah, it's great. But you spent how much money to do that? Well, that could happen here.
Yeah.
And whether it's pizza or some other food item, I think that's how we would get the kids to come out. What was that, 20 minutes I took right there?
No, it's something I think about a lot. It's good insight that you have. Like, I think,
it's, it's the it's just people have had the idea because I've talked to them about it, and they've actually talked to me, and then I'm always thinking like, oh, all right, what about this and this. I'm not one of those millionaires that I was talking about, but I do have some ideas, and keeping it simpler, I
Yeah.
think it would be the best way to go. I mean, even these old movie theaters, what are they doing with them?
Right.
They open them up and then they close. I don't know. I think if how much is it to go to a movie these days?
Oh,
I mean, it's
probably
insane. You're
$10.
gonna
Yeah.
kids. Yeah, it's
Well, yeah.
expensive.
Yeah. Ticket alone's probably $10, and then you try and get a drink and popcorn. Forget it.
Right. And if if that was approached where you already things were paying for other things that you can't afford.
Yeah.
So you're going to make money on a bingo night that will pay for your, touring act that will make, make money and awareness and bring, uh, oh, did you hear about, this place in Wilkes-Barre? They got these people in the Midwest talking about it, oh, well, we need to go there because we're going to Syracuse and there it is. We passed right by it. We got all of this. I mean, how many music places can you name name 5 music places to go see live music that actually is a music place? Hardly. I don't, you
Like
know what I mean?
here locally?
Yeah, not
Yeah,
many.
it's like, yeah, 2 or 3 maybe.
Right. But this, but we were just talking about how many musicians and how many good musicians are here.
Yeah.
But 2 or 3 music places because we're not doing it.
Right.
So we need to do it. At least I think we can if we come together as a group.
Yeah.
You know.
I've thought about it a lot. Um, I'm also not a millionaire.
Right.
Furthest thing from it, right? Yeah, but it has to almost be one of those things like people, in my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, but like it has to be like a passion thing. It has to be like, I
For sure.
know that I'm not going to make money in this venture, but I think it's important to the area.
Right. And there could be grants involved. There's a lot of avenues that could be taken. I mean, but without getting that involved, there's money. There's people who have money who don't know what to do with their money.
Right.
And there's people who, as I said before, they like to enjoy themselves in some type of entertainment, whatever it might be. And maybe it's more than it definitely would be more than just music. There's so many artists here in different forms that could be. It's all, and people are. I mean, there's projects that are going on that are still in the works. I hope they move forward, but some ideas are just financially out of control. I'm not, which I'm all for, and I would like to be a part of something like that. But I think what you and I are talking about is what can happen where we can just go out and have a good time,
Yeah,
and not break the bank.
yeah. I mean, I love to have a place available, and especially for musicians to kind of, it's
Have
open
their own.
mic, not an open mic night, but like a place to kind of, I don't know, test the waters, I guess you could say. Like,
Yeah.
have their first show, have so let's someone takes a risk on them or whatever, or gives them their big break or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, just like And just like, but people know that's what it is. Like it's like a chill place. It's you're saying that it's not expensive, just kind of a collective.
Exactly. And that those places exist, and these iconic places across the country, some of them are still out there, and in the late 90s, we can talk about New York, or Manhattan, or talk about Manhattan, and as the years went by there, you would hear about, well, this club's gone, and Tramps is gone, Manny's is gone, Wetlands is gone, uh, and and then those are just clubs, and
Yeah,
then
CBGBs.
CBG's there, that's gone. CBGB Gallery gone, and then the theaters, and then the big theaters are gone. There, and that's that. And here we are. The one major thing is, historically, they're getting rid of stuff every single year. Why did we rip this place down? Why?
Yeah.
To build a fucking parking lot.
Yep. Yeah.
How many times it's another parking lot?
Or Dollar General.
Right. And
I think I touched a nerve.
yeah, because I eat too much sugar, and that place is just a bad place.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of parking lots,
Yeah.
and then you drive through, it's going to be 2038, and there's going to be like 16 parking lots, where there were buildings. And
Yeah.
I mean, it probably, drive through Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, and 30 years ago, there weren't that many parking lots. That's for sure.
Well, I think Wilkes-Barre, for one, it's the colleges, and it's terrible because the colleges who don't pay taxes, I think, right? I don't think Wilkes and Kings pay taxes.
Really?
I could be wrong. I feel like that I should probably look it up before I say that, but I feel like they are tax exempt because the city wanted to get them to the city. So they, gave them breaks. They said, all right, well, we'll, come here and we want the kids from out of town and the kids to, have a school here. So if that's true, and I feel very bad. I wish I had a producer I could say, hey, pull it up. But if they're buying up these properties that were once taxable income, they're buying it, they're turning it into parking lots or another building for their school.
Yeah.
It's more property that's not being taxed. It's not paying taxes. The city revenue is not benefiting from those taxes, and it's a big thing.
Yeah. How about Coughlin?
Who? Coughlin?
Coughlin High School and Myers.
Yeah.
That whole they I don't know all the things, but from what I heard, both of those buildings get this, I'm paraphrasing here, get the kids out of there. They're not safe.
Right.
But there's a school in Coughlin now where it's a school again. So they took the kids out of Coughlin because it wasn't safe for them in school to just have a school put back in the building.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's go down south, and now we're down at Myers. Get those kids out of there. It's not safe. Let's put some apartments in there and get some people. Let's get some people living in there.
Yeah.
What's that about? I mean, I hear things every now and again. I'm in the bustling city of Archbald now, so there's not much going on up here. But I mean, what did they do with that theater at Coughlin? And I think Coughlin, I could be wrong, but I think that was one of the oldest in one of the looking at old photographs of old yearbooks, I mean, that place, what they used to have in the early 1900s was just nothing like they have now. The architecture, what they were teaching, what the choices were,
Right.
And then Myers, I mean, just beautiful. You got a pool in the basement, you got a football stadium, you've got a theater, you've got science labs, you have a library, you have auditorium, just total beauty in Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah.
And, I don't even want to start talking about crap,
Yeah. I did a quick search. All I could find out was that King's College is a nonprofit organization.
Wow.
Um, uh, in 2019, the Kings gets $100,000 in tax credits for Springbrook building. So yeah, I mean they're getting these tax
Does that have
credits and
any religion? Because they're
well, yeah,
a
I mean
religion.
it is a Catholic school or a Catholic, right? It is a Catholic.
I'm not sure what it is, but I mean,
I
there's that
should
part.
I should know
And then
that. I went there.
I don't want to talk about the Catholic Church and how much money they have.
Lots.
Go there, okay? I'm not. You're not touching a nerve.
No.
But
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's I mean the
it's
world is so broken. I mean, and it's like I feel sometimes like, and maybe 'cause to a degree I feel like I'm just a negative Nancy sometimes, like, oh, it can't be done, like, but you're talking like, oh, get people together, bring them together, and you can do great things, and I get pumped. I'm like, yeah, that's Charles is right, we could do that, it's possible. But then, like, tomorrow something will happen and I'll be like, that's
terrible. Yeah, but so many people are in their phone, literally. And I mean, look at us. Here we are. We're literally I'm in my phone right now talking to you.
yeah.
But to we have to spread that out and realistically think, okay, we know where we are in northeastern PA, right? I mean, it's not the wealthiest counties
Yeah.
in America. So realistically thinking, how would you going back to, how do we get the younger generation to come out and be literally just leave where they're residing, in their home? How do we get them to have something that they want, And I think that could, to have them be a part of something, to know that they're going to get a bargain and they're not going to be but in the bargain they're going to get something that is a quality existence, a quality experience, whether it be sonically, inhaling something, whether it be food or beverage or knowledge, whatever it might be. That's all we really are as humans, is that, I mean, we want that kind of sensory overload of some form that has to be away from this phone or this laptop or this tablet or, all that stuff, because that's where the good stuff is. It's outside of these, what we're
doing right now.
what we're doing right now. But we're also saying, okay, let's go out and put this thing aside, because I mean, we don't even know how good this is for us, actually. I mean, like, is this good to have our phone, in our pocket?
Right.
We don't know the truth,
We'll find out eventually.
Well, right. And so what about, who's looking, even though I'm looking at you and you're looking at me, you know,
Who's
from
watching us?
yeah, who's really watching us? I mean, this TV that's off right now, you know, you hear the stories, when your phone's off. You ever see that?
Oh, dude,
I,
it's
I forget what the guy's name is, but I when I am on the phone and I have this downtime, it's scary as hell, you
yeah.
know, for our future generations, for our kids. It's,
Well, it
you know,
happens all the time. My brother-in-law was over. He's talking about an app he uses to like save money or whatever. And sure as shit, the next day I'm getting ads delivered to me on social media for exactly what he was talking about.
yeah.
It's crazy.
I was just thinking of literally just thinking of a song. And then I went online today. And I mean, this is a song I haven't heard in a long time. And it was strange how this just came up. I mean, what I would look stuff up on my phone and it would come up on my wife's phone.
Well, that's because you're sharing probably the Wi-Fi, the internet.
Is that what it is?
That's what that is. Yeah.
And my wife's like, what is going on here?
That's what that is. Yeah. My wife, there's stuff I do like at work. If I'm on the Wi-Fi at work, like if and my boss, so the craziest thing was I started getting these ads delivered for like Apple Watch bands. And I'm like, why am I getting these ads delivered to me? And then like sure as shit, 2 days later, I'm in my boss's office and he has one of the bands on. He's like, oh yeah, I just bought this the other day. So because we're sharing a network,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's the creepy shit. Yeah. So, but that's
Yeah.
what the thing about all of that is the amount of data that's like we are giving people and companies willingly is super scary. Because like if you're on, if you're a Geisinger on their Wi-Fi, I mean, it's not secure.
Yeah.
It's you want to talk about a cashless society?
Yeah. And,
That's
and
just going to happen. It's scary.
no, I don't want that to happen at all. I mean, I want to buy, a 1983 Caprice Classic wagon. That's, and then we're talking about, electric cars
Yeah.
and it's great for the environment, but we don't know how to dispose the engine or the battery, excuse me. And then I thought the majority of the cobalt that is used, I thought the majority of it was coming from Africa, but it's actually coming from China. And
Is it China?
yeah, that's I thought of the people who were talking about it, they were respected people in their field and know this and that, but they had said it's a much higher percentage of coming from China than it is from Africa. But our car industry is working with China, but we're supposed to be against China or something, or
Yeah.
with all that, and then the current administration, I think a year ago they wanted to give like a tax or like some kind of break if you buy
Yeah.
an electric vehicle, but then it has to be a union-made electric vehicle, and there's only one union-made company,
That's wild.
which is like Chevy or something. But then they're gonna, or what was it? The current administration would give you like $12,000 or something, whatever the amount was. But we don't have enough power in the average home
No.
to power a vehicle, so you have to buy X, A, B, and C. So that $12,000 is gone.
Gone. Yeah.
So it makes no sense, but it makes people wealthy.
Right. It makes you feel good. Oh, you got an electric car. You're saving the environment.
So, but we're not. That's the
But we're not.
worst.
Right.
It's the worst thing on the planet.
Yeah.
like our phones, like
Yeah.
these are the worst things on the planet,
Yeah.
and what are our vehicles running on? Corn, like, and alcohol not too long ago, like, no, like maybe 100 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't do that much traveling. I mean, yeah, it's great to be in a real quiet vehicle, but
I don't know. I'm worried about the cashless society.
yes,
And
that's
people are like, oh, it's convenient to you. You never take or carry cash. But here's what's going to happen with the cashless society. Every purchase you make is going to be tracked. I think insurances and healthcare is going to be like, let's say, you know, you're trying to get healthcare or whatever. Like, oh, do you smoke? And you're like, no. And they're like, oh, well, according to your bank statement last month, you bought a pack of cigarettes 5 times.
right.
So here your premiums are going to go up. Or do you eat? How many often do you eat fast food? Never. I don't ever eat fast food. Well,
Right.
according to your transaction history, you had Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell, Burger King, all this past month. Premiums going up. It's all gonna be dictated by what we do, what we're buying, all that shit.
Right.
Scary.
And I mean, here we are, the big joke was, and it's still a big joke, when the chains really came in, like, did I lose you there?
No.
Um, oh my gosh, Olive Garden, look at the line out the door,
Yeah.
and I just had a chicken sandwich today from this place in Oliphant called Ethan's Eats.
Okay.
And it was awesome. And I'm sure the ingredients, I'm sure there weren't, like, if you put a Chick-fil-A or a KFC or McDonald's or you put them all together, and they're saying, in these sandwiches that we go to because the convenience, there's so many ingredients in there.
Right.
And trust me, I need to go on a health kick.
Same.
I don't, but it's that simple. Don't go there.
Right.
But that's the struggle as Americans,
Yeah.
and our what's going to happen? I mean, COVID went down. What did we learn from that? Nothing. Like, everything shut down except for grocery stores. So you can't get a grocery store. Right. And I mean, but you can't grow your own food in school. Like, why are we getting this frozen crap when we could teach our kids how to grow food? We can grow food on the top of our school. We can have classes. Like, a friend of mine, his mother approached a school district. She had this whole Earth box planning thing, and no, we don't want anything to do with that. But and this was years before COVID.
Right.
So COVID happens, and we didn't learn a damn thing. We didn't.
No.
And so everything shut down. So what's going to happen next time? Now next time the grocery store is not going to be open.
Right.
And Walmart's not going to be open.
Yeah.
What are you going to do now?
I'll tell you, I have like an area for a garden, and I was like, during COVID, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna start a garden, and I didn't.
We try one every year. I mean, we have minimal success with it, but we do it each year, but we're not doing it properly. I mean, we're going to do a better one next year, but I mean, this is realistic. The canning, we don't have the cannings, I've got all the shelving. The house is from the 40s. I bet you they did it back that I live in currently.
Yeah.
We've got all this shelving where I bet you there was tons of canning going on in here.
Yeah.
it's, it's apocalyptic, that's what's going on. And I'm going to start segueing now. I'm going, I don't know if you feel it, but it's happening. You could, you got all these hotels being filled in Manhattan. Where are these people coming from?
Yeah.
I don't know, but they're all going to be at my show January 10th.
I hope so.
No.
Phone's doing some cool stuff.
I don't know how that happened.
That's really cool.
See if I can do it again.
I think it was a thumbs up. It was a thumbs up.
And that's weird. How did I make that happen?
I don't know. It's reading your face. It's reading your body movement.
Yeah. It's just scary as hell.
It's gonna be an interesting year. I've
Are we gonna have an election, you think?
Oh,
Is it happen?
I don't know, dude.
The guy isn't doing anything. The guy in first place, he's not doing anything.
Yeah.
To promote himself, and he's gonna win. Probably.
It's scary. It's scary.
And people debating, and how many of them are being bought out by some corporation?
That's the problem.
Well, Citizens United, that's part of the problem. Like a corporation is the equivalent of you and me. How is it, how is that possible? But
I don't know.
I don't either. But it's crazy. It's going to be maybe it'll be a great year.
I hope it's a great year. I hope.
Me too. Because
we need one, right?
Yeah, I need to turn shit around.
Well, it's going to be great because Charles is putting out new music.
Yes. New music, definitely. I'm hoping for the best, going to try for the best. Every day, try and be happy, be back with the ones I love.
That's all we could do. It's all we could do is, and I think we lose sight. I mean, we don't, I don't want to look too far ahead and like lose sight of stuff that I can't control because there's so much that but I don't want to be blind to it either, right? You don't want to just like put your head in the sand and then to get, caught with your pants down. But, just as, if I'm healthy, my family's healthy, my friends are healthy, and all those things are going well. I mean, what else can you ask for, I guess?
Nothing, honestly. And that's the one thing that we really do need to remember every single day is to come home to the ones that we love and not forget them. I mean, keeping these simple things alive, And I don't know if you remember this, but I was with my family at Knoebels. Do you remember this?
Was I there?
You were there. It was, I think, I can't remember when it was. How many times have you gone to Knoebels in 2023?
2 or 3.
Okay. Well, one of the times I was in one of the food, what are they called? Pavilions.
Oh, that was you.
That was who saved the table for you?
Oh, shit.
That was me.
Holy shit.
Oh.
Holy shit. Oh my God.
I knew I wanted to bring this up.
Dude, holy shit.
You needed that table because it was tough to get one.
I did. Oh my God. This is amazing. This is like this. You just made my night. Holy shit. Dude, I don't, like I said, I don't know if we've ever met face to face. And,
right.
And I said to my wife, I'm like, I don't know who that guy was. But he said, hey, Mr. Popko, this table's for you. I'm like, I can't even like, go on social media and say thank you. I was so just like disoriented and just caught off guard. I felt like I was an asshole. I'm like, I feel like I felt unappreciative.
No, you're a perfect gentleman.
Oh my God.
And I mean, we had a crew of like 6 or 7, and the whole place was mobbed.
Yeah.
The one by the Phoenix, I think.
Yeah. Yep. I know exactly where it was. That's my
And
favorite spot.
yeah, and yeah, so that was that.
Holy shit. I felt so like again, I was just so caught off guard and I just felt like I didn't show like appreciation for
Oh, you did. No, you did. You were.
I felt like I didn't. I felt like I was just like, I don't even know what the hell's going on. That's amazing. Well, thank
Hey,
you.
you're welcome. Thank you
That's
for being.
amazing. Holy shit. That's so amazing.
That was a good day.
Yeah, that was probably Mother's Day, maybe.
Uh,
Was
I
it around Mother's Day?
I don't remember.
I feel
It
like my
could.
mom was there.
I if I look on my phone, I think I have some pictures from that day.
Let me
But
know. And when we get off this, go look. I want to say because I feel like we went around Mother's Day because my mom was there, and we used to go around Mother's Day every year when we were younger. Um, and we kind of started that back again this year.
how
Uh,
great is that drive down there? Isn't that like when you get like about 40 minutes from there and you're driving the 2-lane road and you're going through the farmland. It's
yeah.
beautiful.
Well, the whole experience. It's a great park. I mean, I've been
And
going since I was little.
and there's that theater right right outside. Do you know the one I'm talking about? Like kind of right in it's just as you come I can't explain it, but there is an old opera house
Okay.
there. It's still standing, but those places, that's America. Those type of places. And if we could save all those across across Main Street USA, that would be great.
Well, there's a thing going on now that there's all these boomers are, and who are business owners are retiring. And there's like this big thing where they don't like their kids, their family don't want to continue with the business. So there's these businesses that are going to either be bought up by, the Black Rocks and things like that, or they had to find people like you and I to kind of keep the American dream going. And
Yeah, that's what
again,
we're
yeah, I wish I had the money. I need to start raising funds.
yeah. And it's all it's there's more of us than there are of them. So
Yeah,
if we it, it's keeping it simple and keeping it alive, and that's the only thing we can do. And that's also the scariest thing, is because whatever's going to happen in the future, how is it that there's going to be Joe and Steve that live up the road, but they need a job, and their job is to keep us in place? That's the scary thing.
yeah,
What do you, Joe? All I'm doing is trying to live my life. I, but I work for the man, and the man tells me I'm not going to have a job if I don't keep you in line.
right,
That's where we're headed. I mean,
right.
I mean, we've been a part of that, but that's the scariest thing. The Joe and Steve or whoever have those jobs, like, how could they choose that line of work? Because those people are out there, whether they're whatever position they're in, and they live this dark life. How did I get to this point, John?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know.
But that's what we're against, Main
Oh,
Street.
yeah, we were talking about, um, if people like us don't buy the businesses,
If we don't do it, we're going to be, I mean, we're almost already bought out,
yeah.
and it's getting close.
Well, and COVID did a lot of that too. Like, I mean, there are so many properties that like big corporations scooped up. I mean, you
Oh,
talk about the whole housing market and people, getting $20,000, $30,000 over their asking price, and then like people like us who are getting outbid by these huge corporations, and people like that are, it's, I don't even want to get into it.
Yeah.
It's scary though.
It is scary, but let's stay together.
Yes. Let's build
Let
a
the core.
collective. Build a what?
I was doing my political thing.
Oh,
But it's still gonna be an exciting time. But we should definitely stay focused on this, because there's so many. What you do in your life currently, in the past, in your past, your current situation, a person like you, and what you're going to be doing in the future, whether you know it or not, or whether you think you can, but you literally are a big part of what can happen in northeastern Pennsylvania, in the dreams that you have and the dreams that are in other people, with what you do during the day and what you do at night and what you're doing now. I'm telling you, as an outsider, as like that guy from Knoebels, you're bigger than and needed more than you know. It is the truth, because that's how I see it as an outsider. I mean, we don't know each other really,
no.
Right? But that's how I see it, and that's how I see you, because you do have your finger on the pulse of many things. So I think 24 is going to be quite good to you.
Well, thank you. That means a lot to me. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Well,
wow. Make me blush.
Seriously.
Yeah. Thank you. I don't even know what to say.
Your thanks is enough, but I mean, I don't want you to forget that, because if there weren't people like you, things wouldn't be able to move forward.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I mean, the same can be said, about you. And I think that's what's great about this area that we live in. I don't want to say you could be a big fish in a small pond, but you can make a difference in an area like this. And again, going back to, your career, what is it, 30 some years or whatever?
Yeah.
Just,
Been
I
a
mean,
while.
and I knew of you before, we sat down tonight. We never met, but, and again, you're well respected. It's a good thing to be a part of this little corner of
Sure.
Pennsylvania. And
I'm thrilled. And I really am thrilled to be creating still in 2024, and even with these amazing players who are, and that's the thing with the people that are taking part in these recordings and these live shows. I mean, Mark Heisinger himself, he's playing with the Tom Petty Appreciation Band, Mere Mortals, Blue, a number of other groups that he's played with, and AJ, he's part of the Kirby. He's part of like 6 other groups. Yep. Roy Williams, he's got like 12 things going on. He's a world traveler. I mean, he only played on the one. He only played on the one track, but just to have that musician amongst everyone else just brought everything out. I'm just thrilled with all these players who are doing what they love to do and what they want to do. Justin Mazer, he's traveling the world, playing music, creating his own music, making his name for himself throughout the country, and at this point, around the world. I'm Nick Driscoll. I mean, how many people have played Carnegie Hall?
Right.
I mean, this guy is a treasure, you
Yeah.
know, and a multi-instrumentalist, and an extremely soft-spoken, gentle man, and he's such a talent. So I'm thrilled to be playing with these guys.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm looking forward to what you put out this year.
Thank you. And I'll whatever comes, I'm going to get some stuff back probably pretty quickly. So I'll send it through.
Sweet. Dude, I'm so glad that we talked and that you brought up the Knobles. That day, I felt a few things in that moment, and then I'll wrap it up. But I felt like important for a minute, right? and I felt in a way that like an angel had been sent my way to, because you were there. It was a mob scene, and I'm pretty sure it was around Mother's Day, so it was like me, my wife, my two kids, my mom, my my brother, his wife, their daughter, and there may have been like two other kids and two other adults. There was probably 10 to 15 of us, I feel like.
There
And
was, I knew, I saw you, I saw your crew. Our crew was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There was like 8 of us, and you could fit, I don't know how, or 12 or something, however many at those double tables. And I just knew it. It was just, serendipitous,
yeah,
if you will.
what a moment. I'm so glad because again, I felt like such a piece of shit. I didn't feel like I showed enough appreciation for the moment because again, I was just
Oh, no, you were,
ah,
and I mean, I was out. I didn't, you had to do your fatherly role. That's for
yeah.
sure. It was cool.
Well, thank you for saving the day. That was
Hey,
awesome.
my pleasure.
That was awesome. Well, Charles, real quick, where can I know you mentioned before, but really while we wrap things up, where can people find you online?
CharlesHavira.com, Havira,
Cool.
Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. Just put my name in, Google it,
You'll find you.
Google it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, dude, thanks again for reaching out. Looking forward to again, like I said, the new stuff coming out this year. And I feel like we have to have a beer now at the bog.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, let's set that up.
I will. I
All right.
definitely will.
Are you
All
going to
right.
that show at the Ritz?
I'm definitely going. Yes,
Oh.
I was going to go to the one, the first one, but we'll go there. We'll
I'll
meet
be
up.
there. I'll be there. So let's grab a beer there.
All right, it's a date.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
All right.
Thanks,
Happy New
Charles.
Year.
Take care. You too. Thanks.